Allow me to begin by expressing my delegation's gratitude to the delegations of Vietnam for convening today's meeting on children in armed conflict. This meeting provides an opportunity to review our strong commitment, renew our strong commitment in ensuring the protection and rights of children in armed conflict, as well as reviewing progress made in this regard. We would also like to express our appreciations to Ms. Radhika Kumaraswamy, Special Representative of the Secretary General for Children in Armed Conflict, for her visit to Afghanistan and comprehensive statement. Mr. President, all children have the same needs and share the same dreams. They represent the future of our societies and mirror the state they live in. The government of Afghanistan is still making efforts to rebuild its country devastated by 30 years of war, which dramatically affected the lives of our children, particularly girls. The major victim of war in Afghanistan are our children. Years of conflict in our country have destroyed basic schools, healthcare, education, as well as disrupted family relationships. It has also created stigma and post-traumatic distress, generated a spread of pessimistic outlook about their future. Afghanistan is strongly committed to reversing the impact of war on children and fulfilling its obligation towards the protection of children. The improvement of the situation in Afghan children and comprehensive protection of their rights is an essential precondition for the sustainable development of our state. It will also lay a solid foundation for our next generation to live in peace, prosperity, and enjoy their human rights. Our vision for ensuring the protection develop an environment which provides security, guarantee economic and social opportunities, and respect the rule of law. We have achieved considerable progress towards improving the status of children since 2001. Nevertheless, today we are facing critical security challenges that jeopardize the gains made in the past 7 years and undermine our collective efforts in improving the living conditions of a promising and bright future. Mr. President, terrorism continues to be a major threat and drastically affect the daily lives of our people. Particularly, the deterioration of the security situation in Afghanistan is the product of the surge of terrorist activity, Taliban and other associated armed groups in the region. Terrorists have increased attacks in our territory using barbaric acts and methods including the use of car bombs, suicide attacks, and improvised explosive devices directed at national and international forces. These attacks deliberately targeted densely populated areas where children are the prime victims. Mr. President, the Taliban are using the most atrocious practice conceivable to conduct their subversive operations. Terrorists are recruiting, training, exploiting children as combatant and sending them to operate as suicide bombers. As Afghan international and more alerted at recognizing suicide attackers, children are used because they are not generally suspected. It also forms an effective instrument of psychological warfare, as the specter of the child attackers is as terrifying as it's incomprehensible. The intensification of Taliban intimidation campaign through burning of schools and clinics, disseminating of threatening in-school children has created an atmosphere of terror and traumatized children from going to school. Furthermore, it undermines our efforts in achieving development goals aimed at improving the living conditions of our citizens, including children, and provides a gloomy future for our people. The state of hopelessness resulting from years of living in conflict and from poor socio-economical conditions supported by the brainwash indoctrination provided in madrasas across our border, are creating favorable conditions for recruiting and training of innocent children to target a wide spectrum of Afghan and international civilian and military personnel. We are deeply concerned about the loss of a rising number of children killed and injured by the Taliban and other terrorist foreign groups. We would also like to express our grave concern about the loss of lives and injuries of children during counter-terrorism operations. In that regard, we call on our international partners to exercise maximum caution and enhance coordination with Afghan security forces during operations to avoid the loss of civilians' lives and ensure the safety and physical integrity of children. Mr. President, the protection of children in armed conflict is one of the most daunting humanitarian and security challenges facing the international community today. Addressing the socio-economic needs of children in armed conflict and ensuring their rights requires an integrated strategy with a special focus on poverty alleviation, especially among the most vulnerable, including widows and orphans. Successful implementation of such a strategy requires full cooperation and coordination between the government of Afghanistan and development partners, as well as the United Nations agencies. We like to call on our donor countries and development agencies to assist us achieve sustainable development, poverty eradication, and good governance. Thank you, Mr. President.
Chief of Afghanistan for his statement. And I now give floor to representative of New Zealand.
Mr. President, I thank you for initiating this debate on children in armed conflict.